Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to join today's Tableau admin and Tableau online user group. My name is Mark Wu. I'm a Tableau server admin. I'm also a 3-time Tableau Zen Master. I'm also today's speaker. Just some quick logistics before we start. Everyone is muted during the whole session for better recording quality. Please feel free to use the Q&A button to submit your questions at any time. I will try to answer some of those questions between those topics, and we'll have more dedicated time at the end, try to get the bottom of all your questions. Do we record today's session? Yes. The recording will be available next Monday at the Server Admin Forum. In the chat, I just pinned again the link where you can find the recordings. Today's topic is all around Tableau server projects. Mainly, I plan to cover 3 things. One is what difference between admin role, no matter site or server, versus project leader versus project owner. Second, logged project versus customizable projects. And the third, I'm going to give you some setup for some special purpose projects that have been bothering me a long time, but finally I figured some of those out. I'm happy to share with you, like, how do we set one staging folder or project for all the publishers? How do we set up one private project or one public project? Again, people asking always, like, where can I find today's recording? Yes, you can find today's recording. The link I pinned you. The link is very long, but you need to bookmark it. Okay, it's very hard to remember the link. Now I have a shortcut for you. If you go to enterprisetableau.com, which is my blog site, I do have a link always there called server admin tag link. Hopefully this is an easier way for you to remember where is the link for all the previous recordings of this forum. Dive into server or online structure. It has multiple sites. Even you use one site, default is still a site. Okay, within the site, if you use online, of course, that you have a site. Okay? Within the site, there are users, groups, and the projects. And all your content is actually within the project, has to be within the project or sub-projects. The project is to organize your content and enable more self-service and simplify the permission process, either default or locking. Let's go back to basics before we do a deep dive on the difference between owners versus leader. A Tableau project owner is an individual user, owns the project, anything, everything about the project. Now, what is leader? Project leader provides a way to allow multiple users administrative access to the project. Okay. And both owner, leader can set permissions for this whole project, every workbook data source within the project and within its nested projects or sub projects. Let me give you a demo for those relative new, or to make sure we are on the same page, let me show you something on the server. Okay. I'm here on the server. As you can see, when you go to the Explorer, you click top level projects, you will see a bunch of projects. I click on one project. As you can see, there is an owner. Okay, the owner is individual user. You cannot have a group as owner. Now, how do we allow multiple people to more like manage this group? This is where you need a project leader. Click ... get the permissions. And then on the projects tab, there are multiple tabs. I'll cover other tabs. On the projects tab, this is where you define who can be the project leader and who can be the publisher to this project. Okay. What I have already is a group called publishers group. Those users within this group can publish to this project. Now I want to set a project leader. Okay. Now click add. I can find one group. I can set, now this is a change. It used to be here on the right side called project leader. Now it's ... here. I set as project leader. I'm going to set this group as project leader. See that? Multiple people or everyone in this group can be the project leader. I can also add individual user, let's say one creator as a project leader. So this is how you do the project leader. And of course, you can delay a project leader, remove project leader rule if you want. Okay. Now we talk about project owner versus project leader. Project leader is here on the project tab. You will see who is a project leader. Since I'm here in demo, also let me show you how do I create a project. Okay, how do I create? You are at this demo project. If you click a new project, you are creating a new project within this project. So there'll be a sub project or nested project. Okay. New nested project. I'm going to call whatever you want. You can give some descriptions, whatever. Okay. Now I'm creating a project here. I just create a new nested project. If you go to the Explorer, go to top. Now your top level projects. If you click a new here, you're creating a top level project. Okay. So it's how you can create a projects. Again, I'm admin, no matter it's online or site admin or server admin. As admin, we are able to create projects. So I just created one project called new top level project. As you see by default, as admin, when I create this project, I'm the owner. As a best practice, that actually I don't need to be the owner for the project. I want to enable more self-service. As a best practice, I should assign a person, not admin, as owner. Okay, so sorry, it's not here. ... change owner. I should change owner to somebody else. Let's say I'm going to, let's say this project is requested by a person, creator 1. I'm going to give him as owner. So him, project creator 1, can take ownership of the project. And he can add new project leader and define who can publish to his project. As admin, I create this project, but I don't need to be the owner. I don't need to be the owner. Strongly recommend you enable more self-service. You give the ownership of the project to whoever requested that project. As a recap, conceptually recap, okay, project leader, project owner can do a lot of things. And Difference between admin versus project owner leader is that only admins can create top level project. And once we create a project, we change owners to the requester, and the requester can take ownership, adding leaders, create sub projects, and manage content within all those projects. Leaders can create sub projects. Owners can also create sub projects. Let's do a recap, also deep dive. Okay, I'm going to test your knowledge a little bit more. At least about 12 things I'm going to ask, although you cannot answer, but think, who can do what like this? Create top level project, only admin can. I showed you already, and you know this already. Now, next, change project owner. Who can change a project owner? If you want to answer, you can use your answer from chat, but if you don't answer, it's fine. But think, who can change it? Owners can change it as well, other than admin. Owners can change owner. Number 3, who can delete a top level project? Only owners can, not leader. Okay, now I saw someone replied. Number 4, I'm gonna move on a little bit quick. Who can add delete project leader? Who can add or delete project leader? Owners and admin, a little bit more actually. Leaders can also, sorry, I'm more too quick. Project leaders can also add and delete other leaders. Okay, project leaders can also add and delete other leaders. I skipped the one that's number 4, receive access request. When you have a URL sent to someone and then they don't have access and they can click request access, the request will go to the project owner only, not leader. Okay, I skipped that part. Number 5, we talked about it already. Number 6, who can create, delete nested project? Oh, who can manage content of the project? Everyone. And when I say everyone means, yeah. Who can manage nested projects as all? Who can log and lock a project? Oh. Who can publish to all those projects? Of course, all those leaders, owners can. Now, next one. What is the minimum size rule to be a leader, to be the owner? Minimum size rule. If you assign owner, if this user does not have that right size rule, the user does not show up. That's minimum size rule. All right. Believe it or not, actually, for a project leader, the minimum size rule is a viewer. Although actually the viewer size rule cannot do almost any of the regular leaders' tasks. They do actually need to be publisher or explorer can publisher or creator actually. Although technically allows a viewer project leader. Why they do so? It's long history. In the past, even the viewer project leader can do everything. Later on, I think 2019 something that changed. Okay, that's one thing I'm still but that's the way it is. Okay. All right, last 12. Which one can be a group? Which one can be user? Probably saw my demo already. A leader can be group. Owner is only individual user. All right, that's pretty deep. All right, move on next topic. Let me see if we have, okay, let's move on next topic, locking. There is one pretty big feature released about a year ago since 2020.1. It is log may not apply to all the nested projects. Locking feature has been there a long time, but the old locking is no good. But things changed after Tableau enabled a new check or square. When you lock a project, do you want to lock all the nested or not? This was a new feature since 20.1. That small little feature actually changed the whole thing. If you are still using more like older way of thinking locking, it's time to change. This new way of locking really enables a lot of things. Give you some example. My intent is strongly recommend project leaders, admins leverage this feature. Let me just give you a demo. I need to move a little bit quick because a lot of things. Okay, locking. What is locking? Let me give you. Still go to my demo. Click the manage permission of the project. Okay, you can here is lock it or not. Okay, when you lock it, you do have option apply or not. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. So when you lock it, okay, you have the option to decide if you want to apply the permission to all the rest. I'm going to cancel that. Locking means if I lock this permission means all the workbooks published on this. Let me show you one project is locked already. Maybe that's better. Okay. I think subject one, this was locked. To show you permissions, it is locked. Okay. This project is locked. And now go to the workbooks tab. This project is locked. What it means is whenever, no matter whoever published a workbook to this project, the workbook permission will be follow this, and the owner of the workbook cannot change. If the data source will follow this permission. I set at the project level, and owner cannot change. Just like that, I go to one example. This example, word indicator. If I check permissions, as you can see, it goes here. I don't have option to change this work permission. Even I'm admin or you are owner of the workbook, I don't have option because it's locked. Where this come from? Who has what? Where this come from? It's come from the project level permission for the workbook. Okay, for the workbook, that's locked. All right, that's locked permission. Okay. With this option to apply to nested or not, you can actually, what it means is you can lock each sub project differently, different permission. One more example, you have finance at top level, you have two other finance as a sub. You can lock it all, but very different permission. The finance department, you give to 100 users. And the finance senior leadership project, only 5 users access. And the finance analysis, 15 users access. You lock it, but each folder has different locking. Another example, very often you may have like 80% dashboard should have the same permission, but you want to give flexibility for another 20% different permission. You can still lock it. You can lock top 80% publish over there. And you give a sub project as a different permissions. You can also go other way around. Okay. One note about setting publisher permission to the locking permission is that's a little bit complexity, important to be aware. other words, they cannot publish. For a user to publish to a sub-projects, this user needs to have a view permission at all the parents project. Okay, for example, to publish to a CA project, this user needs to have a view permission to a sales top level and also to the West second level. That is permission you have to give. Okay. Let me see if I can answer a couple of quick questions at this time. If I move on, I'm gonna click my QA. Does the project owner need to be the admin? Okay, no. Admin is a side role. Project owner is a project, is a permission. That's a different thing. Okay, next slide, I'll talk a little bit more side role versus permission. Greg, what version of Tableau is this? Right now Tableau is 21.1. I think that the version I showed you, my demo, I think was 20.4. Okay. Okay. Is it possible to get a copy of the slides? Yes. After next Monday, you will have this slides deck together with recording. And actually, I'll be doing better. I will have a quick write-up as well. David, if you have to be the server-side admin to add users to a group, will not use a group for permission reduced self-service. Is there a workaround for this? Let me read this question again. If you have to be the server/side admin to add users to a group, wouldn't using group for permission reduce? Yes. Okay. Recommend using groups for permission, of course. Of course, strongly recommend using groups versus using users. However, I don't think you want to give too many people as a project leaders. Okay, be careful the project leader rule because they can do a lot of things. Okay, normally I only recommend give a 2, maybe maximum 3 people as a project leader. All right, go back to my slides. Now, what's the difference between project leader, owner, or permission versus a side rule? Okay, side rule like admin or creator or explorer can publish. Those are side rules. Side rule defines a user's maximum privilege this user can do for a site. For example, does the Jew have a legal right to publish anything to this site? Again, site rule defines if a Jew has the right to publish anything to this site. The project level permission, no matter the leader, owner, or publisher, the project level defines which folder you can actually publish to. You need to have both. Need to have the right side rule and needs to have one project to publish to. Just like, if you can think more like side rule is more like a person's legal right working in US. And then the permission is which company you work for. It's more like your job offer. On the day one, when I report to a new company, I'll be asked to show my legal right documents working in US. If I don't have, I cannot work for the company, even I have an offer. So you need to have both right side rule and project level permission to publish. So that's the side rule versus the permissions. At the project level, okay, I showed you quickly One is at the projects tab defines who can be the project leader and who can be the publishers. Okay, that is what the permission at the projects tab defines. Who can publish to this project? Who are the project admins or leaders? There are a few other tabs, okay, in the project level. Those are defined, those are the default permissions when the content is published. The permission defined at the workbooks tab defines the default permission when a new workbook is published here. However, if this project is locked and the workbook level permission defines all the workbook permissions, no matter who published. Same thing as a flow. If you have a flow tab, when the flow is published here, if it's locked, the flow tab defines all the flow permissions. Cannot be changed. You can only change at the project level, and the changes apply to the projects or maybe nested projects, depends on your solutions, depends on your choices. Okay. Of course, at each content, no matter the flow data source of workbook, you define the actual permissions. Okay. Although it can be defaulted from the project level, but the content owners can always give different permissions either during the publishing or after publishing. All right, move on next. Some useful, very useful tips around special purpose projects. We all know there is Tableau Public. They are really available publicly. Anyone can access without username, without password. So there is a password, I guess. Maybe not. Without username, without password. Everyone can access. Sometimes you may have this use case. This definitely happened to me, where you want to have something similar as Tableau Public, but it's only within your firewall. Only your company's users can see. You don't really want to go public. And hopefully they don't need a single sign-on, they don't need a login. How to do that? Again, this is like public information, more like a website, open to everyone within your organization. But it's a Tableau dashboard. How do you do so? There are probably two options. Option one is not the best, but it is an option. If you're using online, probably that's the only way to go. That is to grant the workbook permission or dashboard permission to all users group. Again, all users, this is limited to the specific users in the site and still need single sign-on. It is an option, but it's not the best option. Now, the second option is if you have a core-based Tableau server license, okay, there is a guest account can be enabled. Once you have the guest account enabled, you actually can grant the permissions to this guest account. And then what happens is that basically any workbooks that grant permissions to a guest account can be accessible by anyone within your organization without a Tableau account, without username, without a password. Again, this applies to only core-based server license. Let me show you. All right. First, I'll show you my setup. setup is, of course, you need to have a guest account enabled. Again, this can be done only if you have core-based license. I have that enabled. I create a project called public project. You can call whatever name you want. This project, click permission. Again, I remain as owner intentionally for this project. I, as admin, I want to be the owner for this project because this is a special project. Okay. Click permission. See what permission I gave. Who can publish? Okay, that's your decision, but make it simple. I allow everyone can publish. When I say everyone, means all users on this site can publish. Okay. Now, you may want to restrict to a few people can do this. That's okay. It's your decision. Now, here's more important on the permission of the workbooks. I'm not going to give it to any user, doesn't matter. But I have a guest user enabled. I gave this guest user view permissions. That's it. That's all. Okay. Again, I gave this guest user the view permissions for the workbook. And more again, here is locked. Notice this project permission is locked. It is locked. And I don't have any other people as project leader. I, as admin, I remain control for this project. I'm the owner as well of this project. What it means is that nobody can change the permission of this project. I lock it. I'm admin, and I'm the only person I can change the permission for this project, as you can see. I don't give any other user as a project leader. If you want, you can give another person in your server admin team if you want. Just back up. But this permission never needs to be changed for this project. Never needs to change. Okay. I set the permission workbook. I gave to every guest account. That's it. The rest doesn't matter because flows, hopefully no one publish flows. If you want, you can also give a guest account here. Normally not, just workbook should do. It's locked. So let's see. I have a couple of workbooks already, okay? I click one workbook. So here's how other people can access it, okay? Basically, when they're published workbook, after published, they click the share button and they can get this URL. When they get this URL, they can send to anyone within your organization. And with this URL, anyone within your organization can access this dashboard. Okay. All the workbook owner has to do is after publishing, cut paste this link, email out. Or the better way probably is embed this view somewhere else in your website, your company website or your team website. And then everyone can access it. That is my Tableau Public within your organization. Okay. I'm going to give you a recap. Again, you will have these slides. I know you like my slides. The step-by-step how to achieve this. The key thing is locked the project permission and enable the guest account and then give this guest access for the project. Let me see if anyone has any quick questions. Let me just get it back. Quick question. Oh, I'll move on. Okay, I'll move on. I got other two tips, use cases. Now, use case number 2. How do I create a Tableau private projects? Sorry, private project. So that is one special project, one special private space for all your publishers within your server. So private means They can publish there, but they cannot share to anybody. Why you need this? Well, sometimes you give people confidence. What they can check how the dashboard look like after publish on the server. I don't know if you anyone heard of Tableau dev team actually is working on the private space. I don't know when the release will be, but the private space basically will achieve the same thing. It's a private for every publisher, where you can publish to the private space and only you can see it. You cannot share. Maybe in the future they will allow to share, but my understanding is the version 1 is you cannot share. Actually, you can do this already today. You can do this already today on the server. It took me a while to figure this out. Okay, that's how. I'm going to show you how. All right, I'm going to show you the permission setting to achieve one private project for all the publishers. Okay, it's a locked permission. Maybe I'll do a demo. I'll show you demos better. All right, private permission, private project. I got this created already. I call it a private project. Admin stays as owner. I click permissions, locked permissions. I allow everyone to publish, which is fine. Okay, it's locked. Important is locked, which is why at the beginning I talk about locked versus customized. Okay, it's locked. And I'm going to check the workbook tab, what it means. Okay, that's the permission. Remember, we talked about it before. When this is locked, all the content permission for workbooks follows from here. I did not give any permission. So no permissions for any workbooks published here. No permission to any data source published here. No permission to any flow. No permission to any metrics. What it means? Well, think about it. Think about it. People can publish here, and then after the content is published, because it's locked, they cannot change the permission. The way it is locked is no permission for this project, and no permission for this workbook, data source, anything. So it means only owners can access it. For example, I'll give you 2 examples. Creator 1, okay, he published business, this dashboard called business, okay. You check this permission of this dashboard, it's locked. No one has access, okay. Same thing here for project, for this technology workbook, published by Creator 2, check permissions, no permissions, nobody can see the permission, nobody can see it, and they cannot add even other people. However, as owner, they can see it. I'm gonna pretend to be this Creator 1, log in here. Okay, I'm admin right now. I'm going to sign off as admin. I'm going to sign in as Creator 1. By the way, this server does not have single sign-on intentionally, so I can simulate other users. I'm not going to change my password. Go here. I'm going to my private project. I see I'm Creator 1. I can only see my business projects. See that? I can only see the business dashboard. Okay, I can only see my dashboard. I want to change permissions. Okay, I cannot change. I cannot add. The add button is grayed out because it's locked. I can see it because I'm the owner. I can see it because I'm the owner, and I cannot give permission to anyone else. So what is this? This is the private project. This is a private space, whatever you call. Same thing, if I sign out, log in as Creator 2, just one more, show you Creator number 2. I'm gonna create a tool right now. Go to private project. Guess what? I see a technology. Make sense? Hopefully this makes sense to you. Okay, I'm gonna log off and assign as admin. Back to admin. Go back. Go back to my project, the private. Actually, both. There are two. There actually can be a lot, but each owner can only see their content. And this project, I gave permission everyone can publish. So they can publish, but only they can see it. So I achieved the private space feature already from with current version. How I do it? Again, recap, log permission, and don't give any permission to anybody. That's it. Move on next. Well, you may say, private space, nobody can share. That's not what I wanted. You may want to have a flexibility for them to share, of course, collaborate with others. So I'm going to call it a staging project. This space staging project is a space for all the publishers, okay, but they can share. So what the difference of this staging? Well, the staging is a place where by default, when they publish any new workbook, new data source, new flow, by default, only they can see it. There's no mistake. No mistake means they cannot mistakenly share the dashboard, not read the dashboard to a lot of audience. So only they can see it by default after the new workbook is published. And then maybe they want to review, look and feel, publish a couple of versions. They start to invite a few other users. They can grant access. Okay, they can grant access to a few other earlier users to give feedback about this dashboard. And then once everything looks good, they can publish to the official team projects. So this is a place called staging project. This is where we used to struggle a lot. We used to create thousands of staging tables, okay, causing a lot of problems, a lot of work, manually create a few thousand staging tables. We used to create one staging for each user, each publisher. That's a lot of work. Well, now I figured out a way, actually, I can create one staging, one for all. How do we do it? All right, I'll show you how do we do it. 45, let's have 15 minutes. Staging, how is the setup? Let's check how the setup is. Click permission. Okay, again, I remain as the owner intentionally. Sorry, go back. I remain as owner of this project. Permission. I still allow everyone can publisher, or you can allow all publishers, or you can allow everyone. It's your decision. You can give everyone's publisher if you want. Okay, you decide. But the more important again is at the workbook level, no permission. Data source level, no permission. Flow, no permission. No permission. This is more like private, except noticed as unlocked, it's customizable. What it means is no permission here means when a new workbook is published here, it takes default from here, the permission. So default is no permission. So only the owners can see by default, unless the owner grants other people access intentionally. So they cannot make a lot of mistakes here. Now, because it is unlocked, the owners can grant other people permission. So this is a staging. Very small little change, just lock or not. It drives big difference, big different purposes. recap. I'll give this slide to you so you can follow. Okay. Everything else more like same as the private, except it's not locked. It's customizable. It is customizable. All right. I'll give you a recap, then I'll stay and answer all your remaining questions. Key takeaways. Number one, do leverage your project leaders and project owner for a lot more self-service. Okay, you're admin. You don't want to be the project leader. You don't want to be the project owner. Give this accountability to your business teams. Have them take the full control on their content, on their user, on their permissions. Project admins, the site or server admins, we create top level projects and we assign the ownership to the person who requests it. And we stay away from projects. Have them take the accountability. When I say them, means more like experienced users from each business team. They can do a lot of things here. Use netted project and lock it to simplify your permission process. Dramatically simplify the permission process. Number three, using the locking and locking techniques, you can create some special purpose projects. Like private, each person can have their own private space, more like, although they are publishing to one project, but for them, well, more like their own space. So it's one private project, simplify the setup as admin. You can also create one public project, one public, that people can share their workbooks within the organization if you have a core-based enable the guest account. And you can do one staging for all the publishers. So by default, anything published here, only they can see, but they can still invite a few other users later. It's called staging folder. It's our responsibility to learn and train other project leader users within our organization. All right, I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna answer your remaining questions. I have 10 more minutes. Let me get remaining QA. Okay. Mike, can you embed workbook with a guest user permission into public-facing websites run within your network without exposing your Tableau server through the corporate firewall? You are right. You can. You can. Ken also replied. Embed or not? Yeah. Thank you. Ken also replied. Thank you. Great teamwork. Okay, I think we answered a few of those questions already. Okay. Let me see, answer live. Searching start, let me see where. David, if you have to be the server or site admin to add users, I think we got this already answered. Sorry, it's my bad. Okay. Taylor. Can a view of a sheet be locked for individual views? No, locking is at the project level. Okay, locking is a project level. Locking permission is not at the workbook level. Okay. Eric, can project owner / leader add delayed users in a group within user? Can the project owner / leader add or delete users in the group without being a site admin? No. No. Eric's question is, can project owner users delay users in a group? No, they cannot. Okay, only servers or site admins can manage groups. The project owner leader, they can only manage content within their project, not groups, not the users. Groups users are site specific. That's a site admin responsibility. All right. This question from Z. In the finance example, if I have 3 workbooks in finance projects, and one of the 3 workbooks is only for the senior leader, should I create sub projects inside the finance? Yes, that'd be a better idea. This example, that's what the question was. This example, sorry, what is this example? Okay, yeah, the question is, yeah, if you have 3 workbooks, and the workbooks, one workbook has different permission. The other 2, of course, you will create a subfolder. Okay, you'll create subfolders. Yes, because the locking happens at the project level. Once it's locked here for this project, no matter 3 or 5 or 100 workbooks, they'll follow exactly same permission. So if one of the workbooks has different permission, you need to create a subfolder for that workbook only. Good point. Good clarification. Next question from Carrie. So an explorer can add a dashboard, but not save them, edit, unless they are set as explorer can publish? Oh, very, very good question. The question is, as explorer side rule, okay, what they can do when they have web editing capability for a workbook. All they can do is they can web edit a workbook. They can take a screenshot. They cannot save. Save is considered as a publishing. Save is publishing. To publish, they have to have Explorer can publish or creator side rule. So Explorer itself, they can only edit. They can only take a screenshot. That's it. Good question. Next question, do you need enterprise license for internal Tableau publisher? No. For internal Tableau publisher means it's public. All you need is a core license. Okay, make it smaller, you can see better. All you need is a core license. You can have like 8 core license, for example. And once you have that core license, you don't need to have, and then you can enable guest account, and then you can achieve this feature. Yes, if you have a core license, even with 4 or 8 core license, you can enable this guest account to create public within your project. You do not need any enterprise license. Good clarification question. Lija, I thought the guest account was being retired. No, guest account was never retired. It's only available if you have core license. Also, Mike replied. If you have a core license, I showed you. Okay, I showed you my example. It is still there, working. Another question. Do user-based license not having guest account? Unfortunately, you are right. If you got a user-based license subscriptions, you don't have a guest account. You don't have a guest account. Then the only way will be if you want to create more like your public, that'll be option number 1. Grant all users. Again, this all users is still limited. Any license needed for the guest license? Yes, a license has to be, we talked about already, license has to be core based. Is any way, Nemo, is any way to accomplish with a rule-based licensing model? Not quite sure. I don't think so. I don't think so. Z, are people still seeking the private project? If I do not want people to see the private project at all, I should choose none for all users at the private project, at the project level. Are people still seeing the private project? I don't know what mean people seeing the private project. For the way my setup is on the private project, okay, I'll show you again. For the way I set up as a private project, as you can see, I'm admin, nobody is, everyone can publish. So everyone can publish means that if you are a publisher, you can see it. You can see the private project name, but you cannot do anything about it. You cannot delete it. Okay, publishers can see the private project, but they cannot see any other content within the private project other than he is owner of. Okay, again, as a creator 1 or creator 2, they can all see the private project, but the way it looks like is, although there are 2 workbooks, like a lot more, but if I sign in as creator 1, I'm going to show you again. I know that my demo was quick earlier. If I'm a creator 1, I log in to the top level project. I do see private projects. Okay, where it is? It's here. I do see this private project, but the key thing is I only see my content. I only see one workbook over there in this case, my content. I cannot see anyone else's content. That's the key thing. That's why it's called private. But you can see the project exists over there. Alex, who will reserve email with allow access request in this scenario? Okay, let's talk about the email request. If I don't have, let me talk about email. If you send the URL of your server URL to someone else, okay, if the user does not have permission, they can click request permission, okay, for unlocked projects, okay. If this workbook is published into an unlocked project, then the request will go to the workbook owner, okay. If the project is locked, the request will go to the project owner. Again, for access request, which makes sense if you think, if it is a locked project, if the workbook is published in a locked project, the workbook owner cannot change the permission, which is why the email request has to go to the project owner, okay? Why it does not go to project leader? Because there may be too many project leaders, okay? Don't know who takes action, so go to the owner. But if it's unlocked or customized for projects, the permission should be given by the workbook owners, which is why the email go to owners, okay? So hopefully this answers your question. If you think it makes a lot of sense. Alex, okay, now we are up to the time. I think I can stay another 10 minutes to answer all the rest of your questions. For those who have other commitments, feel free to drop up. Thank you very much for joining today's Tableau Server and Online Admin User Group Forum. And hopefully we'll see you next month. We also have a great speaker lined up next month for STSM Deep Dive. I'm going to stay here for a few more minutes to go through the rest of the questions. Alex, how do you restrict people from scheduling extracts? Okay. Alex, you should go to my blog. Okay. I talk about a lot in my blog. My blog site is enterprisetableau.com. That's my blog site. If you go to my blog site, you're asking how do I restrict people using the extracts. I'm going to talk a lot about extracts here. See that? Okay. Probably most important you can do, okay, is set usage-based extract schedule. And this is very fancy, but it can be done by using the API. So how did I do it? You go to my blog, you will find how I do it. Basically, my concept is that for hourly extracts, if the workbook not being viewed for last 2 or 3 days, guess what? I will reschedule them automatically to daily extracts. I'm using Python scripts automatically calling the API to make a change. In my blog, I gave you details how exactly it was done. Okay, I gave you exactly how it's done, and even better, I gave you the workbook how to identify those things. Okay, yeah, go over there, Alex. Okay, this is enterprise.enterprisetableau.com. Good question. Great. Unrelated question. Do you have any guidance experience on the correct permission for view, graphic query, external objects? I know what you're saying. So each person run graphic query can see all external. So each user run graphic query can see all external objects within running the query. I see. Greg is talking about the external assets. Okay. Today it goes by permission. Okay, people can only come here. They can run this graphic metadata go by their own permission. Okay. Tableau has this metadata built in very nice, but the external assets permission is not done well. Okay. Actually, I've been talking with the Tableau PM for this area. The next feature I think they're going to build is to allow project leaders to access the table, the database. Okay, allow project leaders. I think that's good enough. That's what I will recommend. But before the feature is available today, unfortunately, only admins can really see everything. If you want to give a particular user access more, actually you can grant permission to other user. You can grant permissions. You can grant permissions. For example, as an admin, you can give the permissions. You can grant permissions to other people, okay, if you want. But it's manual work. You can grant permissions to a data source. My sample data set is not very good. I know you can create a table. You can go to the table, and you can grant permission to a particular user to have full visibility of everything on this table as a metadata, and then that user can using the query graphic SQL query to query everything for the table. You can give them by yourself. All right, Scott. Since I changed project sub-project owner, all users are receiving errors that don't have permission to access database. No, that should not be the case. Okay. Scott's question is, if you change a project owner, all users receiving errors? No. Changing project owner, project leader doesn't do anything actually, unless basically you did not give them other permissions. You did not give other permissions on workbook level. You only gave them project leader permissions and you logged permission. Otherwise, they should not get these errors. Okay, should not. Can you share views of Tableau in SharePoint? I don't think so. SharePoint, I don't know about SharePoint. Terry, can the staging project be used for UAT environment? Staging is more like UAT if you think. Yeah, it's more like UAT instance. It's more like that. Benjamin, we want to move to LBMM login based license management. Can core model? I don't think so. I don't think a core model works. Basically, if you have a subscription, you can have LBMM login. I don't think core model core base can have that, unfortunately. How do you identify that your Tableau has a core license or not? Well, you should know if you have what license you have. What tips do you have figuring out why email not sent out? Benjamin replied, situation is we have 2 Tableau server with the same configurations. We are trying to get both send the email alerts, okay, data-driven alerts. One was working while others not. I'm wondering, yeah, if the email is not set up correctly, it may not send out. You need to go to TSM configuration to check if there are multi-levels configurations. Yeah, Benjamin helped answer this already. Z, do you have a post on how to reactivate extracts if nobody viewed the dashboard for more than 30 days? That's exactly what I showed you earlier. Actually, if nobody viewed these 30 days, the extracts should be stopped. Okay, this is where is a new feature that's being enabled already. I'm going to log on as an admin. I'm going to show you. Okay, Z, I'm going to show you. This feature by default enabled already, unless you have an older version of Tableau server. So there's feature here. By default enabled, you should really, okay, see that? This feature. You can change to 90 days, 30 days. Okay, I don't know why my sample said 90 days. Okay, what this feature is, okay, again, this is a super useful feature. Automatically suspend extracts refresh if the workbook not used for 30 days. You can have 7 to 100 in between, depends on your company. This feature is enabled by default. If you upgrade the server, I forgot which version, maybe 20.3. I may be wrong. Okay, you should leverage this feature. And this is very nice, actually. I do have a blog site for this one on exactly how it works. Okay, let me go to my blog site. Enterprise Tableau. In my blog site, I talk about exactly how actually it works. If I find my blog site. Okay. So that is talking about where it is. If I search about, search suspend, if I can find it. I don't search over here. Okay. See that? In my blog site, I detailed out how this feature exactly works. Yeah, I was right. It's a 2020.3 new feature. You can set up by default 30 days. I talk about how this works. It sends reminders, suspend everything, but it will not reactive automatically. Okay, it will not reactive automatically. Max, is it possible to schedule subscriptions sent to some email address that is not attached to the user? No, there's no way, unfortunately, Max. I wish I can, but there's no way. What do you do if your backgrounder keeps going down? What? Your backgrounder keeps going down? Probably did not do good enough maintenance job. Maintenance is very key. I don't know if you're still here. If I show you the maintenance, okay? Maintenance is a very big thing. If your backgrounder keeps going down, hopefully you have a daily and weekly maintenance. I'm gonna show you the steps you should take for the maintenance. That was in my previous recording, Tableau Server Admin 101. Okay, in this, I talk about what you should do to keep your server health. So basically, you do a daily maintenance, daily, weekly cleanup. You can do all of those. You should do. Keep going down. That's no good. Alex, I'm gonna answer the last 2 questions. How do you provide prosecute owner the utility matrix dashboard to our data? Some would like to see who has access. Oh, you should go search for Mac Core's published data sources. Okay, Alex, Mac Core has a published data source. You should go find it out. You should use that. I have that. Give to all the publishers that they can have a 360 degree of what who has access to that dashboard and so on. Andre, last question. Changing the owner of content, clear the embedded credential. Correct. If you change the owner of content, yes, you need to give your own credential. This is the last question. Thank you very much for being with me. Have a great day. Bye.